Good morning. Give me a second while I welcome our Spanish speaking neighbors. Buenos días, gracias por estar con nosotros. Si usted quiere conectarse con el programa y oírlo en español, por favor, marque el número que aparece en la pantalla. En un momento la van a ver, que es 646-749-3122. Cuando le contestan su llamada, compartan el código que también aparece en la pantalla, que es 779-328-221. It is the spring election day, folks. We're glad to be with you. We will be with you all day. We want to make sure that you have the most current and access to all the voting information that you need for today. And I want to let you know there's a whole team bringing the program to you today. So I want to give them a shout out as they get ready to serve you. And so today on production, we have Stacy Carlos. Backup for her is Mario, who is our communications coordinator, who also lined up our interpreter, which is Yuselis. Thank you, Yuselis, for joining us again and providing interpretation to our community. And then we have Vanessa on comments. We have Jeanette leading the youth team, and you're going to see them throughout the day. And I'm especially excited that they're going to be doing the role that I'm doing, hosting, moderating right now at 6 o'clock. So it's an all youth program, a Vote-a-thon at that time. So you'll want to come back to see the youth. And then we have Tony, our operations director, helping to be a floater and that things are going all okay. And Carmen's not with us today. Carmen Ortiz, our new director of legal and programs. She is at a conference, but she set up the coordination and all the details for today. We really appreciate her. And then Wilma as well, Wilma Ortiz, our operations and program assistant, has assisted getting documents ready for us and helping to support all our needs and being able to check in our interpretation line. And then our youth recorded videos, and you'll see them throughout the day. And like I said, at 6, and we have a variety of collaborators who you're going to see as well. So it takes a whole team, and we're so honored that we get to serve you. All right. Folks, we cannot see who's with us. We see the number of people, but we don't know who is actually with us unless you leave a comment. So why don't you say good morning or hello here? And if you've already voted, if you voted early, let us know. And if you voted today, you could let us know what number voter were you at when you voted. So go ahead and put that in the comments so that we can say a hello. And then I'm going to give you a heads up. We really need your feedback because we're here to serve you. So please let us know what was really useful to you, what we can change, or any ideas that you have. And you can do that in a really brief survey. Honest to goodness, it doesn't take more than 5 minutes. And the great thing about it is as soon as we get 10 people to complete a survey at the end of this Vote-a-thon, then we can do a door prize for a $25 gift card. So please do, if you appreciate the work that we do or this Vote-a-thon, please do fill out that survey at the end of the program. And then you get the bonus potential of getting a gift card. And then last thing I want to share is the views and opinions shared today may or may not necessarily reflect our views at SOC. This is nonpartisan work. That means we don't support any candidate or party. We are here to ensure that democracy can be accessed and you get supported as you vote. We're doing something new this season. We are sharing with you videos from folks on why we vote, and hopefully you will find that inspiring and encouraging. And then I am in a little bit going to share with you where you can get details about voting in case you're kind of behind. And then we're going to share some other videos. So I'm going to do my best right now to present the myvote.wi.gov site where you can get all your detailed information for voting. So help me out, team, if things go all right. I am going to share my screen. And I'll need a thumbs up from our internal text to know that you can see what I can see, which is the My Vote site. This is myvote.wisconsin.gov. You can access this in Spanish as well. So if I can get confirmation from one of the team members that they can see the screen, I'll continue. It's saying we don't see the screen. Gonna go back and try again. And now can you see it? Need some feedback from the team. Can you see it now? Great. All right, folks, thank you for being patient. At this site, you can get all the information you need about voting all in one place. And we want to make sure that you at least get a little peek at it so it doesn't feel, foreign or intimidating to you. So here we are. This is the English version, but like I said, you can get it in the Spanish version. And one thing you can do here is check my voter information. You can check your polling place. You can check what's on the ballot. You can update your name or address. You can register to vote. You can vote by absentee, by mail. That time has passed now, but just for future. You can see where your ballot is at. You can vote absentee in person. All right, let's take a peek here. So my voter information, you can search by name, and you can, it'll ask you for your date of birth, and then it'll show you all the elections you voted in. It'll let you know all the other things that were on the top of the tabs that I shared. Of course, I'm not going to share this because I can't share my personal information here on screen. But as you can see, you can pop that in and it will give you that information. And also, in case you get nervous, it's going to show what elections you voted in, but not your voting record. So people won't be seeing that in case you're concerned. People can see what you're seeing on the screen. But the next piece you can do is, where's my voting place? And that's super important because, as you probably remember, it wasn't so long ago, 2020, when we did the census, and the census determines, district lines, and district lines get switched sometime during the census. So you may or may not have a new voting place, but you want to double check. So we're going to use the SOC address here to find out if we lived here at SOC office, where would we vote? So here's the SOC address. The city, of course, is Milwaukee. The zip code here is 53215. Shout out to all of you who live in the 15 area. We also cover the 53204 area. So here we go. Where would my voting place be? If I lived here at the SOC office, it would be Durfler School. And it gives you the address of your polling place, the hours. Today you can vote from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And if you're in line by 8 p.m., it is required they allow you to vote. So remember that. And it tells me the ward. So you walk in to these places and there'll be maybe more than one table. And then I would go to Ward 215. Don't worry about if you don't remember your ward, they'll help you. You just need to give them your address. And then it even gives you a map of where you can go. And so make sure you do that. You don't want to waste time. going to the wrong location. Even though I'm going to tell you right now, most locations, especially on the south side, you're not going to spend more than 5 or 10 minutes at your voting place. And then you might want to be like, okay, well, let me see what I'm going to be voting for and be prepared. And so I am going to now check what's on my ballot. So this is a sample ballot, right, for today. And so you can vote Democratic, and here are some options. Looks like there are more options here than you might see on your ballot. But just as an example, right, you're going to vote for one Democratic or one Republican. And then we have the Court of Appeals judge for District 1 and a couple other court races. So as you can see, Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge, Branch 3, Branch 14, Branch 17, Branch 18, Branch 20, 23, 24, tons of judges today. 28, 38, 39, 43, 46. And so you want to make your selection there for our judges. Very important role they play in our community. And then we have the race for the county executive, the comptroller, the county comptroller. So pay attention. Sometimes things are for the county and sometimes they're for the city. You might have two races that sound very similar. And then we have county supervisor for the Southside District 12. Of course, the mayoral race, Milwaukee mayor. We have the city treasurer. And then here's a example of when I said we have two roles that might sound similar. We have the county comptroller, and now we have the city comptroller role. And we have the city attorney role, and we have another Southside specific race, the aldermanic race for District 8. And then a little later, we're going to have some explanation about the referendums because they can get confusing. But we have one referendum, state of Wisconsin, use of private funds in the election administration referendum. Question 1. Here's something that SOC wants to do some work about. We really need referendums to be accessible to our neighbors and written in a way that they are very, very clear. And so we don't feel that took place this cycle. Those referendums get really confusing. So read them slowly, do the best you can. And then, like I said, we have a piece from one of our collaborators trying to explain them. And then we have another election commission referendum question. And we have the MPS district exceed revenue limit referendum. And so this is what your ballot would look like. You'll get that, you'll mark it in, and then you'll turn it in. We won't go in detail, too much detail in these other tabs, but I just want you to see what they look like, where you can update your name and address. Very simple. You would, put your personal information in. It'll take you to another screen where you can do the rest. Registering to vote. Again, you would sign in. It would tell you, excuse me, if you're registered or not, and then you would follow the instructions. And then for the future, especially, encourage you to look at voting absentee by mail so you don't run into, schedule challenges the day of, which often happens for me because we do the vote-a-thon. So I voted early. You all are encouraged to do that as well. And when you do vote, you can track where your ballot is. Again, I'm sort of stuck not being able to show you all those details because you have to put personal information, and I can't do that right now. And then you can vote absentee by mail, but you can vote absentee in person as well. And let's see what options it gives us if we use the SOC address. And here, as you can see, it tells you when you can vote. And then there's a listing that you can get as well where you can drop those off. We just wanted you to feel a little familiar, folks, with this site so that you don't hesitate using it on your laptop or on your phone. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, and I'm back with you. What I'd like to do now is give you some more voting information so you feel comfortable voting. So we're going to share a video, an interview that we did with Jonathan Zuniga from the City Election Commission. Jonathan, what are some of the common things people get obstructed in voting on? Like, what are some of the complaints we've heard so that they understand the realm of their rights?
I think one of them, you mentioned it, is that after redistricting in last year, some of the polling place changed. So if you already voted in November, that's the same polling place. But if you haven't voted in the last year or so, and this is the first time you're going to vote, then go ahead and go to myvote.wi.gov and check your polling place before heading out your home, so that you can make sure that you're going to the correct polling site. So that's very common thing. Sometimes too, people say, "Oh, I don't have my photo ID. I lost it. I just went to the DMV and I have my receipt that they give me because I'm waiting for the actual car to come in the mail." Right? You can use that receipt as your photo ID. Okay, so go ahead and take that to your polling place, and you can use that as your photo ID. What else?
If they're in line by 8?
If you're in line by 8 p.m., your right is to vote. So chief inspectors, the poll workers at your sites, they know that whoever's in line by 8 p.m. gets to vote. Okay. At 8 p.m., they usually put a poll worker if there's a line so that no one else gets in line after 8 p.m. Okay. So if you're there at 7:59 at 8 and you are trying to register, they're going to help you out and you're going to be able to vote. Right. And again, if you have any issues, contact us, call us, because we want to know about it and address it immediately.
And let's walk people through that process in case they've not voted before. So they're going to get to a location. It'll have signs, voting here. You usually follow the arrows. You go to the place. And then what happens is take it from there. Jonathan. Talk about the people who are going to be there, like the different players, and then what they need to do next.
Yeah. So we have poll workers, and they're called election inspectors. And then we have a supervisor who's called a chief inspector. So you're usually going to meet an election inspector who's a greeter or who's at the door welcoming you into the polling site. And then they're going to determine, okay, are you a registered voter or do you need to register today? So we have two different tables for those processes. So one is where you are already registered and we have the poll books, right? So you go to your ward and then they're going to look you up. You have to say, hey, my name is Jonathan Zuniga. They look up you in the poll book. And then they're going to ask you for their address, and you say your address, right? And then you're going to go ahead and sign the poll book, okay? So then after you sign, the election inspectors will give you a ballot and a voter number for you, okay? So then that's your cue to go and get that ballot and voter number and go to the voting booth, make your selections, and then put that ballot inside the voting machine, okay? And then once you get the voter number, you can comment on SOC's right here page and tell us your voter number, right, Tammy?
Yeah, thank you.
And then
and use the hashtag the Southside votes.
There you go. So make sure you let everyone know that today is voting day. Then, but let's say that you get there and then you need to register. So then they're gonna take you to another table where they're gonna ask you a couple questions. They're just gonna make sure you're at the correct polling place because you have to register at your designated polling place, and they're gonna make sure that you have photo ID and proof of residence, which we just talked about a moment ago. So then once they verify that you have that, then they're gonna ask you to complete a application, a voter registration application. We have them in Spanish and English, and then you complete that. The election inspector will review it, make sure you completed everything and that it's legibly, and then they're going to go ahead and sign the bottom part of that application. Once they do that, then they're going to give you a ballot, the voter number, and then you're going to go ahead and make your selection and vote.
Great. Lots of information, folks, to help you vote. We encourage you to do that. We thank you, Jonathan, again for being with us and helping all our community understand what's happening. Thank you, Jonathan. He's such a great partner. No, folks, I did not have a wardrobe change and change my hair. We have, or my glasses for that matter. We have some pre-recorded videos to be able to get you some subject matter experts like Jonathan on video. So let's move on to our next guest. We want you to really understand and grow your understanding about what happened with redistricting and how districts get mapped and the fights about that. And you might have heard fairly recently that those were settled, and we have our new version of fair maps. And so I will share now that Yuseli Flores Villarreal, who happens to be on live interpretation today, but helped us pre-record some information so you understand this topic. And so we'll share that interview with her now.
Hi, today we have Yuseli Flores from the Fair Maps Coalition. She's the co-director of the Fair Maps Coalition under the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. Yuseli was with us for the primary, so I asked Yuseli to come back and give us a more detailed explanation of what the Fair Maps are doing and how is it the new redistricting affecting our elections. Thank you for coming back, Yuseli. How are you?
Thank you for the invitation, Carmen. I'm really excited to be here and just really excited to provide some really important information for the voters of Wisconsin.
And we have talked about this, and what I would like to accomplish is how to explain what the redistricting means and how is it going to affect our voters. And what does this mean to the voters?
Yeah, of course. So I know SOC has done great work making sure people filled out the census for 2020. So that's where some of the redistricting process starts. After every single person fills out the census, then those numbers are counted and new voting district maps are drawn based on population that has either changed or grown or decreased over the state of Wisconsin. And for just some political context, the last time that we had an opportunity to redistrict was in 2010. And this happened behind closed doors. This happened behind public eye. They didn't allow people across the field to see the maps. And when I'm talking about people across the field is, the Democrats couldn't get to see the maps until they were already enacted and in place. So for the last 14 years, Wisconsin has been living under a gerrymandered map. Gerrymander goes back to the 1800s where Elbridge Gerry cut up a map in Massachusetts and it looked like a salamander. And the comedian who was a comic for the New York Times called it the gerrymander after Elbridge Gerry. And so ever since, the tell of time for the United States, this has been a constant battle for both Republican and Democratic parties. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. They attempt to gerrymander to attempt to control as much as they can. But, no matter where we live, the color of our skin or our political affiliation, who we work, how we worship or who we love, in Wisconsin, we believe that our votes have to matter and that our votes should be counted and equal representation should be what is happening. So these new voting districts and these new voting district maps are finally going to give Wisconsin voters an opportunity this fall to elect a more representative and balanced state legislature for the first time in more than a decade. Like I said, or like you said, actually, February 19th, the governor signed new, more fairer maps into law. These maps were seen before the Supreme Court, and they were also reviewed by two experts who helped in the New York case in 2022. And so they chose some of the maps that were the least gerrymandered, and one of those maps was the governor's maps. So although it's not the best map in the eye of a lot of people, it's a fairer map, and it gives us an actual almost fighting chance at finally getting some real representation in the state of Wisconsin after a decade and a half.
And thank you for saying that, because I was just going to ask you about the fairness of the new maps and whether it gives advantage to one group or the other. But who will be primarily affected by the changes in the maps?
Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen so folks can see where they can find their map, and then we can look at the map in real time. So we can cross-compare the maps from 2022 and the maps from 2024. So as you can see, this is the legislative website, and it's legis.wisconsin.gov. And you can find the map by clicking at the bottom right hand of the corner. There's a little kind of map and a little, can't think of the name, like a little loop. And so these are what we're looking at right now is, let me bring this back. We're looking at the 2022 Assembly District maps. So I'm going to put SOC's address in here, which I think is 3300 South Layton Avenue, Boulevard, Layton Boulevard. And it'll zoom me in to that address. So it'll show you who the legislators who represent the district are, senators, representatives. But what we want to see is if these maps changed at all. So, okay, so we're right here. And these are the 2022 maps, and these are the 2024 Assembly District maps. So as you can see, where SOC's offices hasn't changed, but if we zoom out a little, that's where we can kind of see the boundaries a little better. And we can see that the most affected areas are primarily populations where they have fluctuation in migration over the last 10 years, which includes sort of northeast and northwest Wisconsin. And here I'm going to do it one more time. So these are the 22 maps in purple. So I'm going to see if I could zoom in a little more to get some more. So these will be what the maps in 2022 looked like. And then if we take that off and we put 2024, you can see that some of the areas that changed the most were like these areas here, sort of in Green Bay. The orange, again, is the 2024, and the purple is the 2022. So these changed quite a bit. You can scroll down a little, and we can focus in Milwaukee, but as you can see, thankfully, we have fought to make sure that districts of people of color remain the same, to make sure that we have some contiguity and some community of interest support. So they didn't change much. And so, you know, if you want to have fun with the map and kind of see your new how your new maps will be affected, this is a great resource. Again, it's the legis.wisconsin.gov. And if you click search, it'll take you straight to your to where you're located, and you can find your address up here, and you can also find the legislators that represent your district. And something cool about this is that you can see the legislators that represented you in 2022, and you can also see the legislators that will represent you in 2024 in case there's any confusion about who you need to contact, in case you want to contact them or how you want to reach out to them. So that's kind of how you use the website, and it's really interactive. And from my understanding, it is going to be up to date for when people, I'm going to stop my share now, for when people check their voting status or their registration status on the myvote.we.gov website.
So the new maps are active right now?
They will be in effect after this election. But the goal will always be that voters aren't confused between the August and the November election. But for this April election, people shouldn't be so concerned. It's just important to know and important for us to talk about it so early on so folks are prepared.
And your recommendation is for people to go to My Vote and check where they're registered to vote and what their location is and so forth?
Yeah, so that is the website that we use to check people's registration status, to check what's on their ballot. It's myvote.we.gov, and it's available in Spanish as well, so folks can definitely find their polling place. They can see what's on their ballot. They can even register to vote. They can vote absentee by mail. Although, because it's already so close it's already election day and it's already too close at all, we encourage people to go to the polls and remind folks that they have time off from work legally that they can use to go and vote today.
Okay. And do you think that from now to November, we'll be back here explaining the maps and the situation with all the changes, just to make sure?
I'm sure we will, and I will gladly accept any invitation that I get to talk about fair maps.
Thank you, Yuselis, and thank you for being part of our Vote-a-thon and just to give us this information. Thank you.
Yeah, and if folks have any questions, they can always go to fairmapswe.com and they can contact me through there directly. All inquiries go to me. And if you need more assistance in helping more people find their maps or understand the website a little better, please, I'm more than welcome to support that. So thank you.
Thank you. And for everyone, this information will be posted in our comments.
Thank you, Yuseli. You did a great job. And thank you, Carmen, for the interview. And that's the Carmen I was referring to earlier, who is at the National NCRC Justice Conference. And so I'm filling in for her here, and she did a great job. All right, folks, I want to remind you that if you're with us, we can't see who's with us unless you say a hello. So if you're with us, would you please just say a hello? If you voted early, you could say that. If you voted today, it would be really interesting and encouraging if you would share what number voter you were at your site. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to share some of our Why We Vote videos from our network of folks who are excited to vote.
I'm Vanessa Chavez. I'm a community organizing intern, and I think it's important to vote because the people have the opportunity to elect government officials to ensure that our values are at the forefront of American policy, as well as creating a brighter future for future generations. My mom could not vote for a really long time, so now that she can vote, she tries to make sure that she gets to the polls whenever she can, and I try to do the same for the people who can't vote.
Hi, my name is Stacy Carlos, and I'm an organizer here at Southside Organizing Center. And the reason that I vote is because many in the past couldn't vote and still at this present time can't vote. So I want to take advantage that I have the right to vote and that I can vote and I should vote. And also, if I don't vote, someone else will vote for me, possibly on something that I don't agree on. So that's why I vote.
Well, hello, my name is Tony, and I think it's important to vote because it gives you a voice in deciding where your tax dollars go. Every day we look at our city and we think of better ways to spend our money, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's public services, what have you. So by voting, we have more of a say in where our money goes.
Hi, mi nombre es Wilma y yo pienso que es importante votar porque si queremos ser escuchados en la sociedad, en la política, debemos empezar por el voto.
The staff did an incredible job. I especially like hearing Wilma's response in Spanish, and the graphic was incredible. And that last portion of the video showed some of our youth organizers, and they're leading our Pledge to Vote campaign. So please do, we'll put that in the comments. Please pledge to vote in the fall election and help the youth reach their goal. Thank you, team. You did an incredible job. And I didn't get a chance to record, but you see enough of me. The only point I want to make is when my grandmothers were alive, they weren't legally allowed. they were still alive when they weren't legally allowed to vote. And so I want you all to think about that when you're discouraged about democracy and what's happening in this country. If you are, that people literally died and suffered and struggled a long time, women and people of color in particular, to have the right to vote. And even when they had the right to vote, people were obstructed from voting and some to death. And so, if you have no other reason that you feel inspired to vote, vote for the people who died and suffered so that you can vote. Um, and so, okay, folks, let's move on. I want to remind you that at the end of the program, we want you to fill out a survey. And if we get 10 surveys in, we'll do a door prize for a gift card of $25. So pay attention. And we want to make sure that you can get to that point. All right, we're bringing on now Stacy, who's producing today, but also is an organizer with us. And she is our lead in public resources. And she has some reminders of how you can get involved with us coming up.
Hi everyone, my name is Stacy. I'm an organizer here at the Southside Organizing Center. I am just hopping on here to let you all know that we will be kicking off our cleanup season with 2 cleanups on Saturday, April 20th, both starting at 9 a.m. You have 2 locations that you can choose from. The first location will be on 6th and Rogers, and the second location will be on 18th and Grant. All supplies will be provided. You just have to come out and help us clean up the neighborhood. We will be having another cleanup on Earth Day, Monday the 22nd, and that will be at 4 p.m. We will be having our cleanup on 11th and Mitchell. More details and flyers coming soon. And then I am happy to announce that our annual Garden Fest with Bloom and Groom will be Saturday, May 25th, starting at 9 a.m., where we will be having low-cost plants for sale for our neighbors, and also we will have plenty of tables with our collaborators who will give us lots of important information regarding gardening, beekeeping, and just how to start eating healthy and recipes to eat healthy, and it'll be a great time. We hope to see you all there, and like I said, more information will be coming out soon. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Stacy, you did an incredible job. I love the graphics there as well. All right, we're going to share a couple more why we vote, our campaign theme for this election, so you can be inspired by some other groups of people.
Hi, it's me, Clary. I just wanted to say that the reason that I vote is so that I have a voice in what is going on in our state, city, county, government.
Hi, my name is Mr. Moody. I live in Burnham Park, and I'm 44 years old and extremely excited about voting. Voting is important to me because in order for things to change in my neighborhood and things for the better for my family, I must let my voice be heard. So it's very important that we all go out and vote so that we can seek the change that we want to actually implement in our neighborhoods.
Hi, I'm Drea. I'm from the near south side around the historic Mitchell Street area. Voting is important to me because I know my vote is my voice. And if I want my children and my family and my neighbors to thrive, it's important that I vote in every single election, especially the primaries, especially the local ones. It's the only way to guarantee you're going to have clear communication and consistency with your representatives. And if we want anything to change, if we want more peace in Milwaukee, it is vital that we vote. Thank you so much.
Why voting is important to me is because voting is the foundation of our democracy. We can't expect change if we don't get out there and vote.
Hi, I'm KT, and the reason why I vote is because one, I have a voice and my voice matters, and I think we have a duty as citizens to go out there and vote, and so we can help bring about change to our communities and better the lives for all.
Hi, it's Jeanette, the youth coordinator here at SOC, and I feel it is important to vote because so many people before us fought for our right to vote. So we need to use our voice to be the change that we want to see in our community. And that starts with us using our right to vote. Your vote, your voice, that's all that matters. Let's get out and vote.
Hi, my name is Alexis, and I'm a youth organizer. Even though I can't vote yet, it gives us a voice for our future, period.
Hi, my name is Isabel. I am a youth organizer here at SOC, and although I can't vote, voting is important to me because it gives people an opportunity to use their opinions to create change.
Hi, my name is Jade, and I think it's important for grown-ups to vote because it'll help in the community and it'll help all around the world.
Bravo to the staff, our neighbors, the youth, the babies, for working to inspire you to vote. Those were incredible. Thank you. We're going to give you some information next on the referendums. Like I mentioned earlier, the language can be confusing, and I certainly challenge our legislators to do a better job of making that accessible to the community. Uh, right now, we have an interview with Nick Ramos. He's the executive director of the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. They are a nonpartisan, nonprofit watchdog group dedicated to clean government. And so Nick has been with us before in a different role, and we appreciate he continues his partnership with us.
We have Nick Ramos with us today. I'm going to let Nick introduce himself and tell us where he's from and what he's doing, and then get into a few of the questions that we have regarding the two constitutional questions being asked in the April 2nd election. Hi, Nick.
Hey, Carmen. Thank you so much for having me on the Vote-a-thon. And yeah, I am the executive director of the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. Born and raised in Cleveland, but I am coming to you live from Madison, Wisconsin. The Democracy Campaign here in Wisconsin is dedicated to being a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization tracking the money in politics, fighting for pro-democracy legislation and initiatives, and really advocating for a government that fights for the people and represents all of the people and not just narrow interests. And so very excited to be here with you today.
And Nick, my understanding is that you're not new to the Vote-a-thon. You've been part of this event before, working through some prior Vote-a-thons for the Southside Organizing Center, right?
Yeah, I am a proud veteran of the SOC Vote-a-thon. Previously, I got to enjoy being a part of it through my time at Vote Riders, and now I get the privilege as the new executive director of the Wisconsin Democracy Campaign to get to join the wonderful work that you and the team over at the Southside Organizing Center. I get to join the fun and adventure for another election day, and so I'm just thrilled to even get the invite for another election cycle.
Thank you, Nick. And going to the first question of the referendum, but can you talk to us about the purpose of that question? Why is that question being asked in this particular referendum, in this particular election? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think after COVID, we saw a lot of questions being asked as far as how we fund our elections here, not only in Wisconsin, but across the country. And so folks in the legislature and a variety of special interests, they thought that it was important to try and make sure that our local municipalities did not have the ability to be able to seek private grants to fund the elections and do election administration work. And so voters on April 2nd have the opportunity to either choose to allow our election officials at the local level to continue to seek private grants for election administration, or to be able to discontinue that practice. And I know it's one of those hypersensitive questions, at least within the voting rights space. And I could just say that for us in the nonpartisan realm that do a lot of really good work in voting rights, I can just say that we've witnessed a lot of election officials that have a lot of great need at the local level, and to strip individuals away, to get rid of that ability to be able to get private funds when there's not really another way for them to get money to run their elections. I think that's a real shame. It is a big deal for us to amend the Constitution in Wisconsin, and so everyone should make sure before they pick yes or no to do their homework at the end of the day.
Okay. And the funding that is obtained from private sources, can you tell us what is that funding usually used for?
Yeah. And I think one of the things that we have to definitely demystify is the fact that it's not used to sway elections or do any crazy behind the scenes, behind the curtain things. It's to do what we would say the unsexy things. It's to pay for everyday folks to be able to actually staff our elections during, the thick of just election day. It's to pay for equipment. It's to pay for postage. It's for PPE equipment. It's all the little things that we're not thinking about to run in an election to make sure it's a well-oiled machine. And so it's everything that I get an opportunity in this role as the executive director of the Democracy Campaign to talk with clerks, to talk with executive directors of elections commissions, and they're in bad shape as far as where the resources are, and they desperately need these funds. And so I think it's a real travesty if we take away this tool in the tool belt for us.
Some of us know there's already a definition of what election workers are. So what do you think, or can you explain to us, what is this question in the referendum trying to accomplish?
That's a great question. And I think Wisconsin is going into very uncharted territory with this particular constitutional amendment, because from my research and studies, it's pretty much the first of its kind. Because as you correctly stated, we have very clear laws as far as who are election officials. And so one could argue and say, why are we even going to the ballots and having a constitutional amendment about this thing? If it's already clear in state statute, then why are we then going and then going to enshrine this in the Constitution? And I think if I were to speculate a little bit here, I think the framers or the architects of this thing, they wanted to try and intimidate folks that are in the voting rights space that assist election officials with the kind of intricate things that might fall close to election administration and perhaps push those people out of the election spaces. And I think, again, when we're thinking even about question one, about the very underserved and under-resourced election offices across Wisconsin, I think if you're not going to present real solutions to these folks at the local level, and then you're going to push away groups like the Democracy Campaign, the League of Women Voters, the Southside Organizing Center. You're going to push away groups that have been for years assisting at the local level, these very underserved communities. Then by God, like, I think we're going to see voting it's going to become much harder in a state like Wisconsin, where we pride ourselves on high voter turnout. We pride ourselves in being very efficient with it, even though it's one of those things that time and time again, I hear people constantly talk about they wish they had better equipment, more people, better resources at their disposal. And I just don't want there to be a situation where, there is a doomsday scenario, chaos. Like, we want to make sure that people have everything they need to run our elections as efficiently as possible. And I think that these two constitutional amendments that are on the ballot, they're written so well that I think anybody that could look at these, I don't think they'd look at them and say, well, I don't see why not. I would vote. I mean, I don't see why I would vote no for these things. They seem not controversial at all, but there's some extreme ripple effects that will run rampant for our elections if we vote yes for these things. And so I think people should take some time to really become educated on both of them.
And Nick, if somebody wants to follow up and take a look at your position and your organization, can you repeat the name of the group and where they should go to obtain that information?
Absolutely. So my organization is Wisconsin Democracy Campaign. And you got to access the internet. You can literally go to www.wisdc.org. And I just posted a commentary on there. It breaks down just question one and question two and the significance of constitutional amendments. So you can get schooled on just some of the background and some of my thoughts on it. But I would love for you to just take a look, check out the website. We've been around for 29 years and appreciate you just listening, and go vote.
Thank you, Nick.
Again, so grateful for Carmen interviewing Nick and Nick trying to clarify those very confusing referendum questions. All right, folks, let me ask you one more time if you're with us. As I shared previously, we don't know you're here unless you drop us a comment, say hello. If you voted early, let us know you voted early. And if you voted today, share what number you were at your polling place. I voted early because we are on a vote-a-thon today, and it makes it a little challenging. So please do share that. We're going to share Why We Vote video from Reverend Lewis of Souls to the Polls.
April 2nd is the general election. We get to use our power to choose our leaders right here in the city. You must understand that your vote really counts. You have to know that you truly have power. How do you know you don't have power if you never use it? We have to make sure that we get out on April 2nd and we vote for people who are going to look out for our interests. That's important because we have to live here. We ought to be responsible for those who have to lead. Go out and vote April 2nd.
Folks, I want to remind you to join us again. We'll be here back with you at noon and at 6. And what I want to do is provide you, and maybe the staff can help with the comments. I'll try to share this slowly. If you feel like someone is obstructing you to vote, or you were in line by 8 and they're not letting you vote, or they're not accepting your identification and you're certain that's acceptable. If your polling place is not accessible for you by wheelchair, etc., let me give you the ACLU hotline where you can call for help. You can call us as well, and we'll help get you to the right place. Our number is 414 672 8090. That's our number, 414 672 8090. But we also have the ACLU election protection number, and it's 1-866 our vote. 1-866 our vote, and the number is 1-866-687-8683. 687-8683. And then for Spanish, you can call 188 ve y vota, 1-888 ve y vota, and that's the full number is 1-888-839-8682. 1-888-839-8682. Super important information, because you have the right to vote and we want to support you in that vote. And so we're going to close out the session with a youth video reminding you to do our survey and to be with us again here at noon and at 6.
As we close out this segment of the Vote-a-thon, we hope to encourage you in your action on 2 things today. The first is ensuring your vote is powerful all year round, and the second is to join with SOC in the work we do with all the community.
Engage with democracy and voice your opinions on our Vote-a-thon. Fill out the survey for another entry in the $50 gift card drawing.
Please share feedback via our forum surveys to help shape our future forums.
The link will be shared in the comment section below. Let your voice be heard and make an impact today.
Get involved today. Democracy matters.
Remember, if you fill out both the post-pandemic survey and the Vote-a-thon survey, you will have 2 entryways into winning a $50 Visa gift card.